Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for finding time to join this session. We feel honored and humbled that you took your time even to come and listen to us. With us, we have Nick Miller from University of West London. He's going to take us through today's proceedings. A few housekeeping rules: just keep your mics on mute. If you have any questions, kindly put them on the chat. And without taking much of your time, I'll let Nick take over the session. Go ahead, Nick.
Thank you, Philip. Okay, good afternoon, everybody. Thank you very much indeed for joining this session. My name is Nick Miller from University of West London, and my role is Senior International Officer. So one of my areas of focus is the Sub-Saharan Africa. So I will be your main point of contact for student applications. So to proceed, I'd like to kick off with a brief PowerPoint presentation. And then at the end of that session, we can continue with some questions and answers. I also have a colleague of mine online called David Rees, who works with us in the international office, and he works very closely screening applications and making sure that they're suitable for meeting our entry requirements. So David, did you want to say hello? Just introduce yourself briefly. He's there anyway. Okay, not a problem. Okay, I'm going to share my screen now, and hopefully we can begin the presentation. Okay.
When you come to UWL, we want
a second. Let's go from the beginning.
Really what?
Apologies. A second, please. From the beginning. Okay. So you're welcome to take a screenshot of my contact details, or Philip perhaps can share them at the end, or I can put them in the chat. But the best way to contact me directly would be through WhatsApp messages, which will pop up on my phone and on my laptop. So I'm very approachable and can be as responsive as I can to any questions or inquiries you have about courses or just general life at UWL. Okay, so University of West London, we like to consider ourselves to be the career university. And this is sort of symbolized really in our location of where we are in the capital. So we're in the west part of London, and it's quite a commercial area. So we're very close to Heathrow Airport, which is just 20 minutes away by tube. And we're also about 30 minutes away from central London, all the key landmarks that you possibly might have seen or visited before. Big Ben, House of Parliament, Buckingham Palace. So there are two main train stations close to the campus, which are South Ealing and Ealing Broadway. So the transport connections are pretty excellent for this part of London. So we have two campuses, essentially. This is the main campus at Ealing. And this building has been a centre of education for well over 100 years. Originally, it started out as a cooperative school in 1792, Lady Byron School. And then over the years, it's changed its name. It was the Ealing College of Art in the 1960s, Thames Valley University in the 1990s, and then it was rebranded UWL back in the early 2000s. It's quite a big building with lots and lots of facilities within it. Universities in central London generally are quite compact, but because we're just slightly further out, we have a little bit more space. So this is the other building that we have. This is based at Brentford. Brentford is very close by, very close to the Premiership football team. Brentford FC. And within this building, we solely offer courses related to nursing and midwifery.
Just a minute, Nick. Just a minute. Can you see his screen? Are you able to see Nick's screen?
Can you see the sheet? Can you see?
Because I can't see your screen. Mohammed, can you see Nick's screen? Yes.
Now actually we can. Now
your
actually,
screen.
You got it?
yes.
Yes, now we can.
Excellent. Okay. Okay. So yes. So this is the campus we have at Brentford, which is mostly midwifery, nursing, and our business-related courses. So the two main buildings are connected by a shuttle bus, which is complimentary for our students to use. There are some courses that cover both campuses, so it's a really convenient transport system. So it's literally like 15 minutes journey, and the buses run every 20 minutes. So it's easy to hop on and hop off. The buses also continue to Ealing Broadway Station, which is the main shopping area with lots of dining and other entertainment venues. Okay, and we have other buildings as well in the local area, dotted around. And as a university, we're growing all the time. As a location like Ealing, where the main campus is, it's quite a residential, quite a kind of a scenic area, really. It's a bit more laid back than other parts of central London. And for that reason, I think it makes it quite a relaxing place to be a student. So we've got really good shopping facilities there, restaurants, and it's well known for the Ealing Film Studios, which is where they originally made the Doctor Who series for the BBC. And because of that, it's always had a history of the creative arts being based in and around the area. The other thing I should mention about UWL and our location is just the proximity that we have to lots of global companies. You know, that 50% of the world's top 300 companies are within 15 miles. So some examples of where our campus at Brentford sits, you know, it's next door to Diageo, Sky TV, British Airways, Coca-Cola, Disney. So this really sort of emphasizes our closeness to not just global companies, but also there's lots of small, medium-sized enterprises in the local area. And it underpins our university ethos as being, you know, the career university. So you find that a lot of the courses that we offer at UWL are very much geared to you as a student getting the skills that employers are looking for. So consequently, we have really high success rates of graduates' employability. So both the sites are accessible 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And so if you're working on a particular project, you can access all the facilities in there. It's all state of the art. You know, we spent £150 million on the campus about 5 years ago. So it's a very pleasant environment to be a student. And we invested heavily in geothermal heating as well. So in the summer, we capture all the heat and energy from the sun and store it in coils under the ground so that we can release that as energy in the winter. So as a university, we're very keen to be green and environmentally aware and very sustainable. And given the current situation with Russia, Ukraine, and energy price inflation, you know, we're very fortunate to have invested in this area. So also on the campus, you know, we have some quite unique facilities, including an actual flight simulator. You know, we've got very close links to Heathrow Airport and the hospitality industry around the airport. So we run lots of related courses to that. And when you come onto the campus, you can even find a Heathrow Airport museum, and of course the flight simulator. So this is what it looks like inside the main Ealing campus. We call this area the heart space, which is the meeting place of students, the communal sort of heart space of the university life. And within the area of the Heart Space, there are coffee shops, the Students' Union, and then there's easy access to the library, which is on over 2 floors. We even have a professional radio studio inside the university. So, and there's always lots of activities and events happening on campus throughout the year. These could be events related to like students, but you also have lots of outside events come in, like careers fairs, business presentations, etc. So just to run through some of our facts and achievements as a university, we're very proud to have achieved #1 in the UK for student satisfaction, student voice and academic support. This was in the recent NSS survey. So we beat all of our competitors, all 121. We were the best. So we're extremely proud of that. And as a consequence, because of our achievement there, it's meant as a university, our ranking has gone up this year. So we're 30th now in the Times and Sunday Times. And they very kindly, describe us as being the home to the nation's most contented students. And I tend to agree with that. In The Guardian, we're now 23 out of the 121 universities in the UK. So I think as a university, it's important to see UWL as a university on a very positive trajectory moving forward. So if you become a graduate from there, I think it's really going to give you some great opportunities as our notoriety and respect as an institution improves. As I mentioned, we've got great employability rates. So 98% of our graduates get into work or further study within 6 months. And we're not that well known as a research university, but we do offer a range of PhD programs within the REF framework. We're just within the top 100 as a research university, but we've got very strong ambitions to break into the top 70 over the next couple of years. I would say we'll probably have around, it fluctuates, but we have around 17,000 students that are studying with us at any given time. 18% are international, and we've got 100 plus nationalities reflected. So to give you an indication, like this coming September, we're projecting around 1,500 new international students, and we sincerely hope we can welcome some more students from Kenya, which is a country that is currently very underrepresented in our student body. So within our international students, I'd say the largest cohort we have is from South Asia, probably India, closely followed by Nigeria, and then third place, Ghana, and then fourth would probably be China. So we're actually, we don't have huge numbers of students from East Asia, but the students that do come from those parts of the world tend to come for music and creative arts programs. We've got a very good business school. We run an MBA program, and we've got lots of course options around entrepreneurship. As a university, we're very entrepreneurial. We have our own enterprise hub based at the university. So we work not only with students and their business ideas, but we also work with like fledgling sort of SMEs in the local community, help develop their product ideas, service ideas, and we even get involved in developing and launching brands and finding investment. So we have quite a strong school for computing and engineering. We're in partnership there with Amazon Web Services. So we're very fortunate to work with them quite closely. And we've got some quite impressive alumni, particularly from the world of entertainment. We've got a few political names in there as well. We've got like James Cleverly, who's the current Foreign Secretary here in the UK. He was one of our graduates. But from the world of like culinary arts, hospitality, and music, we've got some quite big names. So most famous of all of our graduates is probably Freddie Mercury, the lead singer from Queen. And we have Ronnie Wood, the guitarist from the Rolling Stones. The gentleman in the middle is Alex da Kid, who's a very well-known contemporary music producer who's worked with Rihanna and Eminem. Matt Tong from Block Party and Pete Townsend from The Who. And they're all very much involved supporting the university to this day. So we're very proud and thankful for our history and our strong alumni. The reason we're known for music is because we own the London College of Music, which sits within UWL. So London College of Music is basically the exam boards that you would take if you're taking any musical instruments, such as piano or violin, etc. It's been around 130 years, so it's given us a really good profile in lots of countries around the world. Other faculties worth mentioning that we have quite a good strength, I would say, is around the School of Human and Social Sciences. You know, we're very strong for psychology, criminology. We do a lot of work with the Metropolitan Police in London. And so we do things like forensic science as well. Computing and engineering, one of our most popular courses is artificial intelligence, cybersecurity, applied project management. And then in the school, film, media and design, you know, because of the history of the area with Ealing Studios, you know, we've got a really good like film department, media production, graphic design, international fashion branding, those types of courses. Within the music, we do like music performance, music production, music management. We have our own in-house record label as well. We do like a law degree, and then we do specialisms at postgraduate level in you know, intellectual property and commercial law and financial law. And then we have, I should mention about the nursing and midwifery and healthcare. A lot of nursing courses involve placement within the National Health Service. Like 50% of the training is delivered on the job, and because of that, historically it's been a bit kind of awkward to recruit international students given, you know, restrictions on working rights with the visa. But I should mention we're launching an MSc. It's already launched, in fact, an MSc in nursing with pre-registration for adults, nursing adults. And that is open to international students. So if any of you have got a background in care or nursing who are interested in obtaining the, you know, the qualification of like registered nurse in the UK, which is a very coveted and powerful qualification to have, then would be very interested in hearing from you. Within hospitality and tourism, I already mentioned we work with the airport closely. So we do things like airport management, culinary arts, pilot training. So recently I was on a flight to Nigeria at the check-in desk at Heathrow, Virgin Atlantic. The person who checked me in spotted my exhibition banner with UWL on it, and she said, "Oh, I went there." So it's just a really nice example of meeting someone whose institution has got a job in the industry at the other end. So it just emphasizes our, you know, how good we are as a career university. So moving on then, here's just some images of the nursing and midwifery department. We use a lot of the state-of-the-art equipment like AI dummies, and you know, some of these mannequins, they have a pulse, you know, their heart beats, their mouth and eyes move. We even have one that can deliver a baby every 15 minutes. It's quite incredible equipment we've got. We've even got a mock-up of a London ambulance with all the equipment that you'd expect inside, so we can do paramedic training. And then we have the School of Fashion Design. These are just some images of our music students, electronic music production. Then I'll just show you it's a portfolio of this student who was a recent graduate. Is from Serbia. The thing with Alex, he in his final project, he ended up securing work with an advertising agency and working on campaigns for Absolute Vodka, like global localization campaigns for the Absolute brand in Brazil, Indonesia, and other countries. And off the back of that experience, he set up his own graphic design agency in Oslo, in Norway now. And he's got the contract with Foodora, which is the largest food delivery business in Norway. So he's a really good example of a success story we've had of a recent graduate who studied with us. This is just some images of the enterprise hub that I mentioned. And, you know, it's interesting. We also have a food innovation center. So we're developing new food products all the time. So currently we're working on a new kind of superfood, which is a bread made out of eggshells. So you can fabricate the material, which is similar to bread, but it's very healthy and it's good for the environment because we're recycling eggshells, which are packed full of calcium and vitamins. And so you've got the Push chocolate brand, which is a vegan chocolate brand that we've developed, and Eat Grub, which is insects, basically crickets. So we coat crickets in piri-piri sauce and sweet lime chili. And you know, we've developed the branding, launched them, and you can actually buy those at a UK supermarket called Sainsbury's. So it's just an example of how we take business ideas from students and the local community and develop them. You know, we're very much you know, an entrepreneurial, outward-looking university. So when students aren't studying with us, there's plenty of clubs and societies to get involved with. Here's just a few examples. We have the Freddy's Bar, which is our students' union bar with lots of entertainment activities going on there. So if there's a particular sport or hobby that you want to pursue and you want to create your own club and society, the students' union is fully supportive of that. We have a sports centre with a fully equipped gym, 2 fitness studios. You know, London is quite difficult to access sports facilities, so we tend to go off campus for those, and we do use some of the practice facilities at Brentford FC as well, which we're quite lucky to be able to access. In terms of the support services for students, so we have a dedicated accommodation team. We have our own accommodation buildings, catering for different budgets or requirements. The best thing to do, without giving specific examples, is just to go onto our website, type in accommodation, and it will run through profiles of each of the accommodation buildings that we have. But the important thing is it's a really good service. You know, you've got round the clock support if there's any problems with your accommodation in terms of, like, you know, electricity not working, gas supply not working, etc. You know, you've got the backing of the university. But students generally will take accommodation for the first year, and then they're making friends, and then they might do house shares with friends from their course. So we do work with private landlords as well as the main student accommodation buildings and other providers. So lots of options. London is an expensive city. So I'm sure you're aware of that. But I would say, because it's quite you know, it's a big city, there's lots of accommodation options, and the population tends to be quite transient. So, you know, it's always good to reach out to your own network, the diaspora of Kenyans in the UK, friends or family, cousins that you might have based over there, to give you support with accommodation, because it really would benefit you having you know, that kind of start. Here's just some images of typical accommodations that you can experience at University of West London. Generally, our accommodation buildings are accessible within about a 20-minute journey on public transport. There are some based in the Ealing area, which, you know, are walking distance, but the majority would involve travel on the London Underground or buses. The other support service I'd like to mention is, you know, we've got a very good team who are dedicated to careers and volunteering. So, you know, as a student, we want you to, you know, gain some skills and experience. Of course, we can help you find part-time jobs, prepare you for interviews. You know, we run our own job fairs. So you can see in that image, I just took this the other day as I walked past. So it's not the best quality, but you can see, you know, breaking into television and radio, or you know, biomedical science. There is always something going on campus where you can get information and build your contacts. Really, it's all about networking. We have jobs on campus, and as a student, you're allowed to work 20 hours per week, as I'm sure you're already aware. And then outside of term time, you're allowed to work full time. So if you're an undergraduate student, it's brilliant if you want to, do extra hours in your part-time job over Christmas or the summer holidays. Helps finance your living expenses. And then in the UK, if you graduate, you're allowed to stay up. Currently, you're allowed to stay up to 2 years and work full time to gain experience and build your CV. And I think, if you're choosing a university in the UK, I think London, by and large, is going to offer the best opportunities for work and getting relevant work experience. Of course, there are jobs in coffee shops and around campus and restaurants in the local area, but you really want to be aspiring to get some part-time work in your area that you're studying, your course. So I can give you an example. We had a digital marketing student from Nigeria who ended up actually getting some paid work in our marketing department. So there are lots of opportunities on campus and off campus, and we're there to support you. Tuition fees. Okay, here's the big one. So our tuition fees for undergraduate programs are £14,250. I don't know what that is in Kenyan shillings, so please forgive me. But if you do your research, you'll probably find out that we're quite competitive, especially for London. The reasons our fees are so competitive is because of it's just our ethos as a university. We want to make our courses as accessible to as many people as possible. So all of the revenue that we make from course fees is just reinvested into the campus and the facilities and expanding what the quality and what we do, everything that we do. Postgraduate, 14,750. The prices are all the same for all of the courses, except for the MBA, which is 16,000, and the MSc in nursing with pre-registration, which I mentioned, that's also 16,000. For students who need extra support, it's generally for students who've got like a third-class degree. We would encourage them to do what's called an extended postgraduate. So it would involve arriving a little bit early and just preparing before they feed into the next available intake. The enhanced extended is mostly geared for students where English isn't the first language, so that doesn't really apply to yourselves as Kenyan students. And obviously, your high school qualification gives you access to passing the English entry requirements for university in the UK. I understand that you do 12 years of education in Kenya, so therefore it's requirement really for you to do a foundation year with us. So all of our foundation programs are integrated into the degree courses. So you get one visa for the whole program and the foundation course. Of course, there are some generic elements to it, like how to write academic essays, how to source your research materials. But a lot of the subjects that you'll be taking are related to the degree course that you'll be taking, which I think is an advantage. I mean, there are other pathway providers out there that you could go to, but the advantage of coming to a university like ours is that you're already one of our students from day one on your foundation. You're treated exactly the same as an undergraduate student or a postgraduate student. You're treated very equally. So we have 2 intakes, September and January, throughout the year. I'm sure I'm going to be asked questions about scholarships, so I will mention this right now. I'm happy to cover it again in more detail, but we have something called the International Ambassador Scholarship available. So on our website, if you just type in scholarships, look for the section which says International Ambassador Scholarship. You fill out the form, you have to do a support statement, telling us why you deserve to get the scholarship. And, we're looking for strong characters. We're looking for people who are doing unusual courses. And, as a Kenyan student, because we don't have many students from Kenya, we'd love to welcome more. So, you're very much in the running to be shortlisted for that. We normally get about 300 to 400 applications for scholarship, and we issue around 30 scholarships in September and about 30 in January for our January intake. The scholarship value is up to £5,000. You're not going to get a guaranteed £5,000. We generally give the 5,000 to the best female and the best male to keep it equal. And then there are, we grade all of the applications, and there's like 3,000, 2,000 and a £1,000 level, which can support with flights and visa costs. So I encourage you to apply, and we will review the applications. Normally, you're only eligible to apply for scholarship if you've been given an offer on one of our courses. Okay, moving on, how to apply. So at this point, I just want to emphasize, how good SI UK are. I've worked with SI UK myself for over, it's pushing 12, 13 years now. Every corner of the world, they offer a fantastic service to students. It's free advice and support. I just think when you're applying for visas, you can so easily make a silly mistake and delay the application process. So it's really good to have the support of experienced people who know what they're doing, who are applying for student visas all of the time. So you're in very capable hands with SI UK. My advice is just apply early. You can apply through the UCAS system, but it's better just to apply directly to us or with the help of SI UK. You can apply directly through our website. You literally find the course you want to apply for. There's a green button. You hit the green button. You fill in all your information, provide a support statement, or upload all of your documents onto the portal. And then we generally review the applications within 2 to 3 weeks. If you're a direct applicant, it can take a lot longer because we do prioritize applications that come from SI UK and other agents. That's why it's such an advantage of working with them. Once you've met the entry requirements, we will issue a conditional offer. And then it's up to you to accept that offer, at which point you pay a deposit. Now, the deposit for Kenya is quite high. It's 50% of the first year's course fees. So you're looking at around just over £7,500, something like that, as a deposit. And then obviously that amount is deducted from the total annual course fees, which you will be invoiced for as you arrive in September. You can split payment of course fees into 2 or even 3 installments. It's really up to you to negotiate that with our finance team. If you have the funds available, I strongly encourage you to pay in full, because then you are eligible for a 5% discount on the course fees, which is very helpful. So once we've received the deposits, we may conduct a pre-CAS interview. For Kenya, it's not always necessary, but a pre-CAS interview is just a mock run through of an interview that you might expect with the UK VI. It's just a check that you're prepared to come to us and you know what course you're studying. I do conduct some of these interviews myself, and I'm often quite surprised how little students know about the course that they've actually applied for. They've not really read the modules on the course that they've applied for, which is if somebody at the UK VI asks you questions and you can't answer them about your course, then it's going to raise some questions. So please know your course inside out before you have your pre-CAS interview. We can do interviews with course leaders for some course areas. It's necessary to do an interview with the course leader, and then for other disciplines, it's not. It really depends on what you're doing. Once you receive the CAS, the Certificate of Acceptance of Studies, then you're in a position to be able to apply for your visa. So you need to provide your bank statements, and they need to show maintenance funds, which is the funds that you need to support yourself for living in London, which I believe is £11,006, something, a random amount like that. I'm sure Philip from SI UK can advise you on that, and his team. And when you apply for visa, as soon as you receive your visa, you are allowed to arrive within 1 month of your course commencing. What I would say is, apply early. Always anticipate for delays in application processing times. As we get closer and closer to the summer, the admissions team get busier and busier, And, we want you to arrive on time. So just take away the stress, apply, pay your deposit early, ideally around June. You should be making a decision around June if you can, whether you want to come to us or not. And then we can really, we have ample time to get everything in place. The thing to think about, if you leave to make the decision too late, then you've got to consider, implications like delays in money transfers, or perhaps the cost of flights. Last September, for students who were arriving late, who didn't pre-book flights, it was very, very expensive to come to the UK. And for some people, they just decided to delay their offer and come in February instead. So it's great to apply early to avoid those kinds of scenarios. When you apply, what we're looking for is obviously your academic transcripts from school, your certificates, CV, copy of passport. A CV is good if you've got any gaps in your study history or your work history. It's really good to give a detailed explanation of what you've been doing since your last period of study. Then sort of other things to consider. If you're doing a postgraduate degree, we really like to see 2 references, like one from an employer and one academic reference if that's possible. We can, on some subjects, allow students to progress to year 2 or year 3 of a degree program, but without doing a mapping exercise of what you've already been doing in Kenya. It's really difficult to determine that. So if you are interested in going into a second year of a degree program, then we need to look at it on a case-by-case basis. For general entry, what we're looking for is the equivalent of A-levels, like grade B, B, C. It's quite easy to remember, and that's a pretty standard for most of our courses at undergraduate level. For postgraduates, we don't accept higher national diplomas or national diplomas for access to a master's degree. You have to have a bachelor's degree with honours, unfortunately. Sometimes African students may have an ordinary degree, so it might be a bachelor's degree, but it's like ordinary status. We check them out on the system called ECTIS, and whatever ECTIS tells us the equivalent is, then we have to abide by those rules. So if you've got an ordinary degree, we have to look at it on a case-by-case basis, and it could be that we might have to put you on an extended master's program. Again, gaps in study is important. We need to look at things like that if you've got some gaps. Finance, you need to get your bank statements verified. You've got to have the funds for your maintenance funds in your account for 28 days. And you've got to show where your funds for your course fees are coming from, just to be transparent, in case you're questioned on it. What else can I say? Dependence is a big issue in the UK. Particularly for master's students, if you're going to be bringing a husband, wife, spouse, or children with you, you need to have a plan in place and prove that you can financially support them during the course of your studies. And there's lots of rumours about the UK government cracking down on the numbers of dependents. My record is currently one student who brought a husband, wife, I think 4 kids, was it? 3, 4 children. So, a lot of people are bringing extra people to the UK, and the government are looking very, very closely at this at the moment. So watch that space. I think we have, as a university, we're very careful about applicants. We are very much becoming now a selective university rather than a recruiting university. So our admissions team can reject candidates very quickly and easily. So make sure that you do meet the entry requirements, save your own time and save our time. And, if for some reason, you feel that you need to argue your case to get a place, then please talk to me, and I'll look at your situation in more detail and present the case to our admissions team to see if we can make any exceptions. What else can I say? What I'd like to do now is just show you a video which will give you an overview of what the campus looks like from the inside. And then after I've played this video, perhaps we can move on to Q&A. So I'll just play this. It's about 3 minutes long. I hope you enjoy it.
When you come to UWL, we want to give you a really warm welcome. And you probably noticed that from day one, there is a lot of focus on your career. But then we are the Career University. Every year, the university works with over 6,000 businesses to make sure that you're learning the skills and knowledge employers are looking for. This means three things. It means that what you learn in your course will be relevant to the industry you want to work in, because our courses are shaped by people who are looking to recruit the best graduate talent. It means that campus is jam-packed, full of industry-standard facilities that help you develop your skills in a professional environment. And finally, it means there will be plenty of opportunities for you to hear from experts and connect with professionals who don't just work in the industry, but they know it inside out. When you come to UWL, you're not just coming for a degree. You are coming to get a career that you can be proud of. From the day you start, a career team will be there to take you through steps needed in order for you to secure a successful and rewarding career when you graduate.
Okay, so I hope that gives you a bit of an insight. That's it with me, really. At this point now, I'm happy to open the floor to any questions that you might have. So please fire away.
Yes, thank you, Nick, and thank you everyone for hitting the call. And for those who have questions and they're not posted, kindly, if you have any question, put them on the chat box. And if it's too pressing, you can lift your hand and I'll unmute you. So I'll start from the first question. It is from, this Emmanuel was experiencing a sound problem that sorted out. This is Priska Chibi. I am a nursing student at KMTC pursuing my diploma in nursing. Do you have top-up programs?
Top-up programs in nursing. We do, but as I mentioned earlier, it's really tricky to accept international students on nursing programs at undergraduate level because of the conflict with the working rights on the visa. You know, we've got special permission for the master's program from the NHS trusts in Berkshire and Northwest London. But for undergraduate, I'm not really 100% sure. Without looking at what you've done already, it would be difficult to give you a complete answer. My advice would be to apply anyway, and we'll see what you've got and what you've done, and whether it will be possible to top up. So please, I encourage you to submit your application documents to SI UK informally. You don't have to make a formal application. Just send the documents to me and I'll have a look and I can discuss it with our nursing and midwifery team to see if we can accept you.
Good. There's someone who is asking here whether you have any scholarships for international students. I think you spoke about 4,000. You can just repeat that.
Yeah, we do. Yeah, I mean, I mentioned it briefly in my presentation earlier. We've got the International Ambassador Scholarship, which is valued up to £5,000, and you can apply for that once you have your course offer. You can apply for it through the website, and you have to provide a support statement saying why you deserve the scholarship. I sit on the panel, as does my colleague David, who's also on this call. So we read them all. There's about 300-400 that come through. Some of them we skim read because people actually haven't written that very much at all. So it's well worth spending time on it and not just rushing it, because we do pay attention to the ones where the support statement is somebody's made the time and effort to put in the work. And as I mentioned earlier, we don't have many Kenyan students, so already you've got a very strong chance of being shortlisted. So we'd love to welcome more students from your country.
Thank you so much for that. Then I have Eugene Omwaka. I'm looking forward to pursue international relations and diplomacy course. Do you have an international relations and diplomacy course?
Yeah, we do. We have international relations to undergraduate level. Would this be for undergraduate or postgraduate?
This, I think, is for undergraduate.
Yes, we do. That would be fine. Yes, so we have that.
Yes.
Postgraduate is a little bit more limited in that subject area, but definitely for degree, undergraduate degree, we have that subject.
And I'll pick it up from there and tell Eugene to start the application. This one should be done in good time. I normally advise students to start early so that we do not have to rush against time. Then I have Keira. Good evening, everyone. I'm from Kenya and I've done diploma in social work and community development. I need to pursue my degree in London. We have, you can start your application, and then if there are any scholarships, I think that one has been responded to. Then I have
Cabo. I just seen Cabo's message. We don't offer undergraduate in sports science, unfortunately. You'll find that a lot of the London universities just don't simply have their sports facilities. So you're better off looking at places like Loughborough, Nottingham Trent. They have like good sports programs, but we don't, unfortunately.
Then I have Tracy Kagaya. Good evening. Do you offer MSc in clinical psychology? And can I get an NHS job with the same?
Yeah, so we do offer clinical psychology, and there's no guarantees of a job within the NHS. But as I mentioned earlier, if you graduate in the UK, you can continue your visa under the graduate route. So currently, you're allowed to stay in the UK for 2 years and work full time to gain experience. So within the National Health Service, there's a bit of a recruitment crisis. There is lots of job opportunities available. So if you're eligible to work on your visa and you're qualified as a clinical psychologist, then by all means, there are opportunities available to you, and it's your chance to make yourself indispensable to that employer in those 2 years, and you never know, you might get sponsored. The National Health Service in particular, they're importing professionals from all over the world to work in the health service because we have a recruitment crisis.
Then I have, then I don't know whether I'll be able to get it. This from Asenat. Do you offer an MSc in GIS and remote sensing? Are you in a position to speak about that, Nick?
Sorry, can you just repeat the question again? I didn't quite hear you.
Do you offer MSc in GIS and remote sensing?
GSC. I'm really sorry, I can't follow you.
GIS and remote sensing. GIS.
GIS. What's excuse me, what's that stand for, that acronym?
I can't even get it. I think she should just elaborate further on the question so that we are able to answer it comprehensively.
Sure. I did see one question pop up, which I'll quickly answer. It was about statistics. Yeah, we do programs in maths and statistics, economics. I mean, the best thing to do is just jump on the website and have a look, and you can see a list of the programs there. I would say we're very strong for computing and engineering, but we don't do things like mechanical engineering. It's more like environmental engineering, computer software design. We do applied project management, which is very popular in Africa as well. What's this one? Debbie, do you offer diploma? Yeah, we offer a master's in human resource management and also at undergraduate level. Yes, we do. Journalism, yes, we do. We offer journalism at undergraduate level, and then at the postgraduate level, we offer things like advertising and branding, creative communications, which would encompass some journalism as well. But journalism is generally like an undergraduate degree subject, and we offer that.
Purity, you completed your A-levels, you have to do a foundation to join a degree. I think you've done KCSE, then you have to do a foundation. Then
yeah, so like A-levels, if you've got A-levels like same as the UK, then you can just get access into year one of a degree program. But if you've only done 12 years of education in Kenya or another country, then you're required to do a foundation year to get that important 13th year of education.
Then I have Tracy again. Do I have also to pay 50% deposit for a graduate program? Can scholarship cover this amount?
Unfortunately, it's just the kind of requirement. It's the same for every course, every person. It's for Kenya and the majority of the countries. We have like 3 categories. Basically, we have high risk, medium risk, and then low risk. And you know, the bulk of countries around the world are in the middle area, and it's a 50% deposits. It's quite high. I do appreciate that. The low risk amount is 3,000, and then the high risk, which would be countries like Nigeria and Ghana and India, are it's like £10,000. It's really high. It's one of the highest deposits in the UK for UK unis. But our course fees are quite competitive. So if you're going to pay a high deposit, if you've got the finances to do it, pay all the course fees in one go, because that way you're going to benefit from a 5% discount overall.
Then I have Priska asking again, do you have accommodation in the campus?
Yes, we do. Yeah, we have a range of accommodation buildings. We have some which are within walking distance, but the majority are within a 20-minute journey on public transport. My advice is go on our website, punch in accommodation, and it will list all the different buildings that we have. We have many different options to suit different budgets, but accommodation in London is very expensive. Because our fees are a little bit lower than other universities, in a way it counteracts the high living costs. So if you go, say, to a northern city, perhaps like Leeds, you know, the course fees might be higher, but the living costs might be lower. At UWL, you know, the course fees are lower, but the living costs are higher. So on balance, you know, we're pretty representative of the overall costs for most UK universities, modern ones.
Then I have another question is, are international students allowed to take pilot courses in the UK?
That's a really good question. Yeah. From what I understand, it's a very tricky area. If they've got some flying experience already, or have part of a license in another region where they're allowed to fly, then it's possible that you can do a conversion course. But if you're a complete beginner, then unfortunately it's a very restricted area for pilot training, and you wouldn't be able to do so. So if you've got some background and experience, we'd love to hear from you to find out what you've done already. With the pilot training, we work very closely with, you know, British Airways. We work with Wizz Air, which is a low-cost carrier here in Europe. So there are, you know, we often get pilots who are qualified pilots that want to do more like airport management type courses, or they want to do a PhD in you know, air transport. So there's lots of options. So we'd love to hear from you to find out what you've been doing.
Then I have a question from Sawach Kambi. I am an undergraduate pursuing diploma in peri-operative theatre technology in Kenya. Do you offer programs on the same line?
Not to my knowledge, no. I'm not that familiar with that area. I'm sorry. I saw a question pop up. Vascaline, we missed your question. What was your question? Do you want to ask again?
Unmute yourself and ask Vascaline. Let me look for her question. Vascaline is asking, if one pays the deposit before the visa and the visa is denied, do you offer refunds? Absolutely,
100% refund. Because we scrutinize the applications very carefully, you know, we get very, very few visa refusals. I can tell you in September, I think we had 2 out of, you know, over 1,000 students. And one of them was a mistake by the UKVI. So we did an administrative review and they got that decision overturned. So we have very, very low rates of rejection. So if it does happen, we'll give you a full refund.
I have Ian Karanja asking, can ESA UK assist me to apply visa and write an invitational letter? I think on the visa part, ESA UK, we can assist you apply for your visa. Just visit our offices in Nairobi, Madonna House in Westlands, and we also in Mombasa at Links Road, Nyali. Somebody is asking, can SIUK assist you in the whole process of application? Yes, SIUK will assist you all through. Just visit our office and you should be able to take it up as you start your journey to university in the UK. Then this one, I think you respond, hey everyone, I'm Ian from Kenya, I want to study journalism. Can I get also a job there?
Yeah, I mean, you could. If you study journalism with us, there's nothing to stop you working as a journalist if you do the graduate route. The thing with the working rules, you're not allowed to work as a freelancer and be self-employed. You have to be employed. That's the only consideration. The reality of being a journalist, it tends to be a lot of like freelance type work. However, you can think creatively. There's a lot of like communication departments within companies that are producing in company magazines or PR press release documents. So if you want to be a journalist, there's lots of jobs out there that you could potentially do. But if you're just self-employed, writing articles and submitting magazines or websites and wanting to get paid for it, then your visa probably won't allow you to do that.
I have another question here for you, Nick. Somebody is asking, do you have payment plans for international students who cannot maybe pay their fees in full, but they can be able to afford payment in installment?
Yes, we do. Yes. So the only condition is you have to pay that deposit. That's compulsory. But in terms of the full fees, we can split it usually like 2 installments or even 3. It's really a case of you negotiating that with our finance team, just explaining your situation, and they'll work out and approve a plan for you. But what we don't want is a situation where students arrive in the UK and they can't afford to continue paying their course fees, and we're left in a very difficult decision of having to send people back home and cancelling their visa. So that's why it's really imperative that you have the funds for the deposit, and you can demonstrate that you have the funds to support your living costs. If it's a struggle, I encourage you to get part-time work, and that's what I did when I was at university. It was a struggle for me, so I worked all the way through, and I think you're going to get some benefit. It's really good to have a life outside of university, and it's a great way to meet local people and passively learn other skills in the UK while you're here.
Just a minute, somebody else dropped me a direct message. Do you offer civil engineering? I think most of these questions we can get to the website and really try to check what they offer. But then in case you're not satisfied and do not get the full answers to your queries, you can always get in touch with SIUK, and you should be able to support and assist you.
That's right. So the scholarships, I see that question there from Elizabeth. Hi, Elizabeth. Basically, the scholarship can be used for any course, any level. So it's not one specifically for law. It's for any course that you want to do. There's another scholarship out there that I should mention. Is it the Chevron scholarship? That's well worth applying to do. That was introduced just before COVID. We've got 2 Chevron scholars currently at UWL. One of them is from Ivory Coast, I think, and then the other one is from somewhere in the Caribbean. So yeah, there are other scholarships that aren't controlled by us that are out there. My advice is you go talk to people like British Council, do your research, and see what pots of money you can find out there to support your studies.
For the interest of time, I think I'll leave it as that. If your question has not been I think you can also get in touch with SIUK, and it should be able to take you through the question and your application process. What I'll say is if you intend to start the journey to join a university in the UK, and also to join UWL, I'll request you start early. Kindly get in touch with SIUK, share documents, and you should be able to pick it up from there. At this point in time, I think I'll give it over to Nick to give us your closing remark. then we bring it to
Yeah, just very, very briefly, everyone. You know, thanks so much for attending. You know, I really appreciate your time. I'm gonna in the chat. I can leave my contact details. You're welcome to get in touch with me directly if you have any questions that you'd like to discuss offline. I'm more than happy to do that. And that's really all I have to say. It's just my advice is, like, you know, wherever you go in the UK to study, you know, if you come to our university or another one, you know, you're going to have a great experience wherever you go. It's what you make of it, really. What you put into the experience is what you take away from it. I would say that, like, coming to London, it has so many more advantages than other cities because of the employability opportunities. So consider what you know, the course that you want to study, and don't be swayed by the location so much. But if you are interested in a really good quality degree that's employment related and it's going to help you in the future, then UWL is a really good place to come. I think you'll love it here. Okay, and give the contact to everyone. Here's my contact details. Just shared on the chat there. So email me, or you can send me a WhatsApp message. Okay, thank you very much, everyone, and enjoy the rest of your evening.
Thank you.
Bye for now.
Thank you so much, Nick, and I want to thank each and everyone once again for joining the session. It was very educative, and thank you, Nick, for taking us through the session. Also, in case you have any questions which are pending, kindly reach out to SIUK in Nairobi and in Mombasa, and we should be able to help even as you start your journey. Your destination in the UK, and our destination of choice is UWL. Thank you once again, and have a wonderful evening ahead. Bye for now.
Bye.